Hey everybody. So I was thinking about inventions and how things are sort of created in our society. And it sort of occurred to me, how many things are invented or we discover, I suppose, that are sort of happenstance or by accident. And you know what? There's a number of things that surprise me, and I think they might surprise you, so I thought I'd take a minute and share just a few of them. I'm going to focus more on, I'm going to say inventions than discoveries, because we just stumble upon things sometimes, right? Like penicillin. We just discovered penicillin. I don't know that we necessarily invented it. It exists, and we just figured out how to use it. But let me give you an idea. 1987, these cats in San Francisco are using this deadly toxin to try to help people. I don't know, they got crossed eyes or they got jittery eyes, and they're injecting this toxin into their face to calm those eyes down. And one of the side effects were the crow's feet or wrinkles disappeared. And Botox was essentially invented, changing the world as we know it, or at least the turn back time for those who care so much about aging and how they look. But 1987, so there's sort of an example of an accidental invention. This one is kind of interesting. You know, it's 1945. This cat named Percy Spencer. Now he's working on magnetrons. And what, Sancho? Well, no, a magnetron is it's like a vacuum tube that generates a shortwave radio. Let me talk about the microwave. See, I just spoiled it for you. Anyway, he's working on. That's right, Sancho. Yeah, we will in a minute. But so okay, this Percy Spencer, he's working with magnetrons. And as I just said, they emit shortwave radio waves. And one day he's working with it, and I guess he had a candy bar in his pocket, and it melted. And that's when he realized that these radio waves is what actually melted that chocolate bar. And he went on to create today what's known as the microwave. He filed a patent in 1945. Here, take a look. Here's a picture of Mr. Spencer. And I think what they called it at that time was the radar wave. I think that's what they called it. Anyway, take a look. Interesting, right? Here's another one. I don't remember what year, but this cat named Spencer Silver, he's trying to discover or work on an adhesive that's going to be very, very strong. And sort of what he discovers is an adhesive that isn't strong at all, but sticks very slightly, but it seems can be used again and again and again on any surface. He works for 3M, and what he eventually invents is a Postit Note, but he gets the help of a fellow cat named Art Fry that sort of finds a use for that glue in a piece of paper as a bookmark, and that's how the Postit Note is born. But originally they were trying to find a very, very serious glue. What's another one? Like the ice cream cone, 1904. 1904. Now, this is just about the time that ice cream is even affordable for the masses. Prior to the 1900s, ice cream would be reserved for the elite and super rich. But at a fair, obviously early on, I'm sure ice cream came in scoops, little glass cups or some sort of paper cup. But as the story goes, one of the ice cream vendors ran out of these cups, but he's next to this cat named Ernest Hamley, who's got a waffle stand. Well, Ernest, being a good guy, he takes his waffles and he sort of makes them in that cone shape, creating the first sort of edible ice cream cone, if you will. And today, the ice cream cone exists because of that, purely by happenstance. What's another good one? Saccharine. Saccharine. Now this was invented by a Russian chemist named Konstantin Fallberg in 1878. Take a look at these pictures. Now the story goes he was working, obviously as a chemist, and while going to dinner, he failed to wash his hands before supper. He licked one of his fingers, and because some of the chemicals that were still in his hand, he discovered just how sweet that chemical was. Went back and basically figured out saccharin, which became artificial sweetener. For all of us that are a product of the 70s and 80s, we all remember Tab, and other sodas that put this artificial sweetener in, but you go all the way back to 1878 and the invention of saccharin. He was not looking for artificial sweetener, he just stumbled upon it. Well, obviously, everybody immediately thinks of Viagra, the little blue pill, blue pill. Take a look. All right, we all know that. That was originally invented to treat angina, which is a heart condition, and they discovered that one of the side effects, of course, is now what Viagra is used for. Well, I gotta stop drinking this stuff. What's another good one that I thought was interesting? Safety glass, 1903. This cat named Ed Benedictus, I believe, he's working in his lab and he knocks over a beaker. And when it hits the ground, he expects it to, shatter into a million pieces, but it doesn't. It just gets a bunch of cracks. Well, upon further investigation, he discovers that on the inside of the beaker, over the years, it has been coated, which he basically determines is cellulose, or a thin sheet of plastic, and safety glass was born, which is in every car window, or car windshield, or windscreen today, all by just accidentally knocking a beaker over. This one's kind of my favorite. 16th century Dutch shipmaster who transports wine, and he's trying to make it easier, so he comes up with this idea to use heat to sort of concentrate the alcohol in wine, which obviously make it smaller, condense the liquid, and then he would go back and add water to it once it got to its destination. And what they discovered was that the concentrated wine or superheated wine actually tasted better than the wine with the water added back in, if you will. And it came to be known as, in Dutch, Brandy wine, which basically means burnt wine. But that's how brandy was born. Imagine that. Isn't that interesting? Brandy's just burnt wine. Another one. Chocolate chip cookies, Ruth Wakefield. Take a look, here's a picture. So Ruth Wakefield, she's working, or actually she's the co-owner, I think, of the Toll House Inn. Very important, Toll House Inn. And she's making some cookies for her guests, but she notices that she's out of, I guess, baker's chocolate, which I don't really know what the hell that is, but she's out of baker's chocolate. So she takes a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar and sort of busts it up and puts it into her cookie recipe, thinking that the chocolate bar would melt the same way that the baker's chocolate did. Well, it doesn't. It just created little chocolate chips, and chocolate chip cookies were born. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Ruth Wakefield, because I like chocolate chip cookies. Super glue. 1942, this cat named Harry Coover, I believe, he's trying to figure out a clear plastic for gun sights. In around, 1951 or so, him and his partner Fred Joyner with Eastman Kodak realized that this plastic that he keeps trying to invent is actually a glue that sticks to everything, and super glue was born. Here's another good one. 1853, this cat named George Crumb. Take a look. Here's George Grum. He invented the potato chip. He's working at his restaurant, and guys are bitching about his French fries not being crispy, maybe being a little soggy. So he takes a potato and he cuts, instead of the fry length, he cuts them extra thin and throws them in the vat of oil for just, a little bit longer, and they get very, very crispy. He covers them in salt and invents the potato chip. It was in Saratoga Lake, I think. Is that right? No, the Moon Lake Lodge in Saratoga Lake, New York. They were called Saratoga chips before they became known as potato chips. 1886, CocaCola. Now we all know the story of CocaCola about cocaine and various things. It started out doing a lot of different things. I think it basically had a syrup that had a little bit of wine extract, Coca-Cola, and about right around 1900 or so, where Coke originated in Atlanta, they had banned alcohol. So he just had the syrup, and the idea is you would just add water to it. It helped cure headaches, things of that nature. Quite frankly, I think it was just a highly addictive drug. But the story goes that one day, someone, instead of putting tap water in, put seltzer water, soda water, or club soda, if you will, and Coca-Cola was born. At least Coke as we know it. And then decades later, they removed the cocaine and so on and so forth. But that's sort of the birth of Coca-Cola, purely by accident. Someone just put in soda water instead of tap water. One last one, and then I'll let you guys go. 1826. This cat named John Walker. Here's some pictures. Take a look. Yep, that's right. Invents matches. And how he discovers this is he's got these little cardboard sticks, and there's a chemical on it, some sort of phosphorus, because we've already learned that most of the time phosphorus has to be kept in the dark. If it's exposed to light, it immediately ignites. But he accidentally runs that across a piece of sandpaper, and it ignites, creating a match. And as you can see, they originally called them friction lights. Now, what's very interesting is that Mr. Walker never patented it. He was so noble. He said, how could he profit from something that was going to change all of mankind? So matches were invented by, or created, or manufactured by everybody, and Mr. Walker never got a penny for his invention. I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe you think it's boring, but it's interesting to me. Anyway, in this world, when you can be anything you want to be, you be kind, you be humble, you be forgiving, and you be melting snow. Bye.